In the early 1980s, it was just over 3 decades that India had gained independence, and people were just getting used to it. India was an economy tightly controlled by the license Raj with stifled business growth. However, this challenging environment was skillfully navigated by emerging industrialists who saw opportunities where others saw obstacles. Reliance Industries was rapidly expanding. It was transforming from a textile company into a major player in petrochemicals. Despite India's restrictive economic environment under the license Raj, Dhirubhai Ambani's innovative strategies and strong investor support fueled Reliance's growth, making it a favorite among retail investors and setting the stage for its historic clash with the Bear Cartel in 1982. This is a story of a clash between an ambitious and resilient Dhirubhai versus a powerful group of stock market manipulators known as the Bear Cartel. The Bear Cartel, led by a man known as Black Cobra, had one goal: to profit by driving down the stock prices of companies like Reliance Industries. Their strategy? Short selling. Short selling is a bit like betting against a company. Here's how it works. Investors borrow shares and sell them at today's prices, hoping to buy them back later at a lower price. The difference between what they sold the shares for and what they buy them back for is their profit. It's a risky game, especially if the stock price doesn't fall as expected. But here's where it gets interesting. What if someone, say a brilliant entrepreneur, steps in and turns the tables? That's exactly what's about to happen. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Reliance Industries, under the leadership of Dhirubhai Ambani, was rapidly emerging as a powerhouse in Indian business landscape. Originally starting in textiles with the iconic Vimal brand,
Now Vivian has found a new love. It's the one everybody's talking of. It's only Viva.
Reliance expanded into petrochemicals and synthetic fibers, industries that were heavily regulated and dominated by a few established players. Reliance's growth was fueled by three key strategies. 1. Public investments. Reliance was one of the first Indian companies to raise capital from the public, and Dhirubhai was known for democratizing the stock market. He made Reliance's shares accessible to small investors, creating a massive shareholder base. By the early 1980s, Reliance had over 1 million shareholders, making it one of the most widely held stocks in India. Number 2. Vertical integration. Ambani's strategy involved vertical integration, where Reliance controlled every aspect of the production process, from raw materials to finished goods. This not only reduced costs, but also gave Reliance a competitive edge in the market. Number 3. Navigating the license Raj. Dhirubhai was adept at navigating the complex regulatory environment of the license Raj. He used his connections and understanding of the system to secure necessary licenses and approvals, allowing Reliance to scale rapidly despite the restrictive economic environment. Reliance's rapid rise disrupted the status quo in several industries. Established business houses and traditional players who had enjoyed dominance for decades suddenly found themselves facing intense competition from a relatively young company. The rapid growth of Reliance, particularly its rising stock prices, caught the attention of a group of powerful traders and stock market operators. The cartel believed that Reliance's stock price was overvalued due to the company's rapid growth and aggressive expansion. They anticipated that the stock would eventually fall, allowing them to profit from short selling. Dhirubhai Ambani's approach to business and stock market operations was unconventional and often seen as a challenge to the traditional way of doing business. The Bear Cartel, representing the old guard of the market, was motivated not just by profit but also by a desire to curb Ambani's growing influence. On March 18, 1982, the Bear Cartel launched their attack. Reliance's shares, which were trading at 131 rupees per share, plummeted as the cartel sold off over 1.1 million shares, causing the price to drop to 121 rupees per share. Investors were gripped with fear, suspecting something was deeply wrong with the company. But while the market buzzed with rumors and uncertainty, Dhirubhai was meticulously planning his next move. He wasn't just reacting to the situation, he was anticipating the cartel's every step. For Dhirubhai, this wasn't just about defending his company, but defending the hopes and livelihoods of countless investors. This wasn't just business, it was personal. Dhirubhai quickly orchestrated a counter strategy. He enlisted the help of brokers known as Friends of Reliance, who began buying up shares as soon as the cartel started selling. This group acted swiftly, purchasing around 857,000 shares to stabilize the price and stop the panic. The Friends of Reliance had purchased about 80% of the shares dumped by the Bear Cartel. This unexpected move caught the cartel off guard. As Reliance's stock price began to stabilize and even rise, the cartel faced a major dilemma. They had sold shares they didn't actually own, hoping to buy them back at a lower price. But now, with the price going up, they were forced to buy back those shares at a much higher price. The cartel realized they had underestimated Ambani's resolve. By driving the price up, Ambani wasn't just protecting Reliance, he was turning the cartel's own strategy against them. Before knowing what happened next, request you to kindly subscribe and encourage me to make and bring you more interesting stuff. The battle reached its peak on April 30, 1982, the day when the cartel had to settle their trades. Settlement is when buyers pay for shares and sellers deliver them. Basically, it's when all the deals are finalized. But with Reliance stock price now soaring, the cartel was in serious trouble. The Bear Cartel couldn't buy back the shares they had sold without suffering huge losses. So they tried to delay the deadline, hoping the situation would improve. This tactic, known as Badla financing, allowed them to push the deadline further. But Dhirubhai wasn't willing to make it easy for them. He demanded a hefty penalty for this delay, making it even more costly for the cartel to escape their predicament. Dhirubhai wasn't just playing defense. By demanding a penalty for delay, he was squeezing the cartel even tighter. They thought they could buy time, but Ambani made sure that every minute costed them dearly. The standoff was so intense that the Bombay Stock Exchange had to close for 3 days. When trading resumed, Reliance shares hit a new high of 201 rupees per share, and the cartel was forced to buy back at this much higher price, sealing their defeat and marking a monumental victory for Dhirubhai. The financial impact was staggering. The Bear Cartel, who had bet on Reliance's downfall, faced massive losses as they were forced to cover their short positions at inflated prices, paying substantial penalties in the process. On the other hand, investors who stood by Reliance saw significant gains, nearly doubling their investments as the share price surged. This victory was more than just a win in stock market. It was a turning point for Reliance Industries and a defining moment for Dhirubhai Ambani. His strategic brilliance not only protected his company, but also strengthened the faith of millions of small investors in the Indian stock market. Dhirubhai didn't just win a battle, he set a new standard for resilience, strategy, and faith in the power of innovation. Thank you, see you soon.